wanted to show you from scratch how to create a keynote, and I thought it'd be great to use one of those, other curriculum areas like science or humanities. And also it would be a really good opportunity to show you how to do an app smash. And that is essentially combining two apps together. So the first thing we're going to do is share our screen, and I'm going to share my iPad. I thought would be really good to do is go to Keynote and show you from scratch exactly how to create a new project. So the very first thing you want to do is go to plus, and here you can create a presentation, or you can copy, or you can get one back down from your iCloud. We want to start from scratch. And as I've said in the note, Apple have done a really good job and added quite a few new different presentations here. I'm going to do science, so I'm going to perhaps choose the photo essay, and we can just, oops, I have to remember that I'm working off the iPad, not off the computer. So the science project, of course you would have a different name that specifically relates to the project that you'd be doing, and I might just put my name there. Now, one of the things that I could do is add a picture, and I already took a couple before. So one of the things I'm going to show you is a particular app that I really like. So this picture straight away has covered my title page, so I might make that smaller, or I might keep it big and make it sit behind. So here is where I can arrange the elements on my page. Now I can flip it vertically, horizontally, and I don't want to do any of that. I'm quite happy with it the way that it is, but I will make it go to the back so I can see my title. I can also play with the image if I want as well, and again I'm not going to do that. What I might do though is make it a little bit smaller and get rid of some of the excess here that I don't need. Done. So that just crops it. I still want to fill the page a fair bit, but see, that's annoying because I can't see my title. So what I might do is bring that up higher and bring my title down, and then I could put the name over here. So just because you have a template doesn't mean that you can't play with it. You absolutely can. And I might make that box actually smaller, so which I want to do, and I'll show you why in a moment. Just make sure you're working on the right one. So I want to make that fit my name. And what I can now do with this particular box so that I can make it stand out a little bit more is go up to the paintbrush. Now the paintbrush will affect change to any of your elements. So it's virtually your creative pulse that's within Keynote, if that makes sense. Now I could use one of these options that are already there if I wanted to. I probably don't, although that blue's actually not too bad. It goes with the text, or I could even use, the black doesn't stand out. Or I could also go to style options, give it a border, and I want to go with that blue colour. And I can also fill. Let's go with the lighter blue. I mean, you get the idea anyway. And with your border, you can change how big it is. Now that I've actually made that blue, I might want to make that border perhaps white so it stands out a little bit better. So you get the idea. So you can play with any of the elements as much as you like. Now I might also want to do something with the title Science Project, but I kind of like it sitting there like it looks like it's part of the picture, and then the only thing that's really standing out is my name. So now I want to add another element, and you can see there's lots of different options here. And I just am going to go with a very plain element. And I was talking in the previous video about creating a template, and this is where I might do that. So let me just show you quickly what this particular app is all about. It's a really cool app, and it's called Click and Learn, and it's by Bio Interactive, and it's fantastic, especially for those higher order science projects. It has all sorts of information here, you know, transitions and finch species and the deep history, life on Earth, paleoclimate, which is the one that we are going to be looking at, the skeletons of the human and chimpanzee evolution. We've got stuff on DNA later on down the track here, cells of the immune system. It's really good information. It's more advanced, so it's for your upper secondary school students, but you know, there's no reason why you couldn't use some of these for younger students as well. So if we go here, you'll see how it works. Each page has something different, so the little arrows tell us what we need to do. If we go to here, you'll see a film strip, and we can click on the film strip and it will take us to a little mini video as well. So it's excellent information and has, you know, some fantastic things in there. I just paused. So that just gives you an idea of what that looks like. So then if you go across here, there's more information, another video, and then there's some really good graphs with, again, extra videos, more information. Now this is one of the ideas that I had, is that we could use the global temperatures in the modern world, this particular graph, and recreate that in Keynote. So if we go back to our Keynote, we can add, I've already taken the screenshot right here. And again, I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. I actually probably don't even need the page or that top part. I just really want that graph. Done. Now if I look at the graph here, we have the temperature difference, -0.6 up to 0.8 and then 1860 and so on. One of the things I could do is have a little text box now, and this is just part of, you know, an interactive digitalized worksheet if you want. So using the graph above, recreate using Keynotes, something like that. I mean, you might want to have different words, but that will do for the moment. So what they can then do is go up here to where we have different graphs and choose which one that they can use. So we could actually ask them to transfer the information they have in the picture to a 3D version, and that would be kind of cool to do. So let's say if we chose this one, and we can then edit the data. And again, I really don't have time to go through each and every part of it. You can add whatever data that you want in there to suit. So every section here can be changed and recreated to create your own information and to put all your own information in. I might pause this for a moment and do this because I think it might be interesting to show you how that looks. So I'm back and I've created the graph. I thought it was easier to do it offline rather than on. I'm going to just play it and so you can see what it looks like. This is a really great way that you can create, as I said, a digital worksheet. So you might like to add another page, and going back to my photos that I've already pre-taken, and again, let's make it a little bit, just focus on the particular photo itself. And one of the other things that you might do is add some little text boxes that are like question and answers. Use the internet to search what? Oops, question mark. And once again, you could play with how that looked and all sorts of things. You can add extra instructions if you want. So then the next thing that you might do is add another text box. Oh, I should keep that one We can actually keep it like that because it looks, you can see what it's like really well. So I might just copy and paste that now for expediency, because I'm going to use the same colours, and add more detail about what I would like my students to do. To create at least 3 slides, I might add, paste again, and this time I can add text, images, and animation. And this is, of course, assuming you would have taught your students how to do all of that beforehand. So, I mean, this is really, really basic explanations, and I'm sure that your imagination could run quite crazy with this, and you could have your students doing amazing things using Keynote, images and animation, and your worksheets are going to be really, really interesting and more creative and more motivating for your students as well. It hasn't taken me very long. Screenshots are really easy to do using any other app, and you can see that you can create some really cool visual worksheets for your students. So let's just do one more quick example. So this time we might use just the slate colour for the brain, and in detail, you know, again, I'm really rushing it here to show you, and you can make this look quite interesting if you wanted to. Now, a great app is called Your Fantastic Elastic Brain. So it's a really cool little app. It's just a storybook app, and it's quite basic, but I can use this. So let's assume that we've read this together as a class, or your students have read it individually. It just depends on how you want to work. So I'm going to go back to Keynote, and I'm going to add the screenshots that I've already taken. So I'm going to make that a lot smaller. Now, I want it to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to add a border to it, and I want that to be, and make it quite big, so it stands out on the page so my students can see it. Now, I can add a circle around the cerebellum, so I want to make that stand out. So again, I'm going to go up to my paint box here, and I just want to give it a border, make it a little bit bigger. And this time I'm going to make it red so that it stands out. And I'm going to make it a dotted line rather than a filled line. And you'll see why I'm going to do that in a minute. So I'm going to actually copy and do the same thing for the cerebellum. Paste. Keynote doesn't like you to paste on top of pictures for some reason. So paste outside the box and then move it up. So you can see that I can make that circle into an oval to fit what I want it to do. So then I'm going to add an arrow. Let's stay with our green theme. Now you can do one or two things. You can actually use your finger to make it change direction. I can go up to my text box and arrange and make it invert if I want to, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. So what I want to do now here is say, go to the 3D brain app to find the cerebellum, cerebrum, sorry, reading the wrong one. To find the cerebrum. Now you can see my writing is too big, so I can highlight, select all, and just make it a little bit smaller. It's going to fit in, 20 should fit. It's probably too small now. Make it 25. Okay, so that works. Now, I can make it easier myself and copy and paste. So if you use your 3 fingers, you can actually turn that arrow around as well, because I want it to not sit so much on the page. So this time, of course, I need to change the text here to cerebellum. Okay, so that's pretty much what I want. Again, I could play with this and make it perfect and do all sorts of things. And again, I can also, if I want to, put a border around that shape. I'm going to give this one a border as well and play around with how it looks. And you can see just by adding a border, it gives it a little bit more dimension. Go to the 3D brain app. So what they would need to do then is find the cerebellum, and then they can have a look and see what that area of the brain actually looks like. And we could get them to take screenshots, they could add labels, and they can also find out information here. And again, we could ask them to take screenshots of that. So as you can see, this is a really fantastic way of using, quite 2 or 3 different apps as an interactive worksheet. Now we could add to that, go back to the story. What I could do here is then copy and paste and use this as a template for my next page. So I'm going to delete that main picture, move all these out of the way so it's easier to work with. I'm going to delete that and add the next picture that I've already, I think it was this one. Yes, it is. So the amygdala. So this would be the next one. So I probably don't need that second circle. So everything's all ready to go. I don't need to, here's one thing to be aware of, is that I need to make sure that that's actually sitting on top of the page. So I can go here to arrange, and this is where I can bring my circle to the top, make it fit. I can get rid of this one and then add here amygdala. You're using a couple of apps at the same time, and you're using Keynote as a template for them to present their work and their learning to you. So I could add a couple of slides asking them to add more information about those particular parts of the brains and the screenshots that they've collected along the way. So you can see that using a couple of apps together makes for a really creative and interesting as well as an interactive learning experience.